Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we are reviewing 300. Yes, I picked up 300 in 4K. This actually was part of a 2 for 25 Amazon deal, and if you want to see what other movies I got in that deal, stay tuned for the end of the month where I'll do my June haul and they'll all be featured in there. But this one was one of them. I have an eye on this for a while. It hasn't been out that long actually, this 4K remastering, but I've never seen the film. I'm a big fan of like these period stuff. Like I'm a big Game of Thrones fan. Anything like that's like, I guess, older, you know, like medieval times, I'm into, and this is no exceptions. There was two actors in this movie that I'm actually familiar with. Gerard Butler, obviously a big star. He's been in many films, Law-Abiding Citizen, to name but a few. As well as Lena Headey. She has played Cersei in Game of Thrones, and it was a pleasant surprise to see her. Like, I knew Gerard Butler was in the movie because he's like all over everything, but I didn't realise she was, and that was a nice surprise. The movie is directed by Zack Snyder, obviously the guy who caused uproar with the whole Justice League thing, and basically the best DC director that's been on some of the films. So yeah, he did work with Warner Brothers on this in 2007, so this was before, way before actually the whole DCEU stuff. So this is my thoughts. I actually did enjoy the film. I found it to be hard to follow on certain parts. It was one of those, like, if you literally like switched off for like a scene, then you'd be like, how did they get there? Like, what's going on? Like, it was quite, like, you know, quite fast paced. But I did enjoy it. You know, I thought, you know, I was surprised to see the whole this is Sparta line like right at the beginning of the film, basically. That was nice, and I did just think it was all in all quite a good and enjoyable experience. This new 4K remastering, probably not the best films to try out as Zack Snyder's, to be honest with you, because he does put a lot of grain on his film, and this is no exception. Like, there's a lot of grain in this, and it was in some scenes quite off-putting, like the color schemes and the color direction that he chose in terms of more of a deeper contrasted, deep black levels, and then you had like really amped up like browns and oranges and stuff. That's kind of the color scheme of the movie. There's some scenes where it's almost like black and white, but then the capes are red. You can tell they're red even though it's a black and white scene. So the color direction for the director was obviously you know, a staple in his thing, and that's what he's done with the Justice League movies. You know, he's done that, you know, in those films. But nonetheless, I did enjoy the film. As I said, it was one of those where you have to follow it, really follow it, as I said, and there was certain scenes where it was just like, that would be better if it was redone now. As I said, this was a 2007 movie. It was basically entirely done on a stage with a green screen, and I feel like if they did this film again now, this film would look a lot better because the background CGI wouldn't be as, like, I guess, noticeable, and some of the things did look a bit like dated and fake. I mean, this is like 15 years old, so, you know, there's going to be some like aging in the CGI, but in terms of like the whole like storyline and everything else, it did stand up well. In a nutshell, there's 300 that are standing against 1,000,000. It says this, so there's 300 of the Spartan fighters, and they're going against. That's kind of where it came from. I didn't even know what 300 meant, so that was quite a nice thing. I do have the second movie here, which is called Rise of an Empire. This doesn't star Gerard Butler. This it's not even directed by Zack Snyder. He is producing on it, but I'm kind of interested to see what this is going to be. Now that I know the ending to this, it's going to be interesting to see what this is. But I'm going to do a review of this, so stay tuned for that. It's going to come very soon. However, though, if you are thinking of picking up the 4K film, I would pick this up for the Dolby Atmos track alone. As I said, the picture quality isn't all that great, but one of the biggest reasons for me of getting a 4K movie is that you get the Dolby Atmos track. Most Blu-rays don't get it on there. Some do, some don't, but in this case they don't. This was a re-release that came out about a month ago, I believe, here in the UK, or 2 months ago, and yeah, Dolby Atmos track. It's some good scenes. There was one scene where they were like hiding into their shields, and as they were under their shields, all these arrows were coming on and hitting there, and it literally sounded like there was somebody in my attic shooting arrows through like the roof of the room. So it was really good. I thought the Atmos was great, and I would watch it again. But as I say, it's one of them. You know, you've got to follow it, and yeah. Overall, though, I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. I had a fun time with it. The 4K film was okay. It wasn't the best 4K film. As I said, the grain can be off-putting by Zack Snyder, but the Dolby Atmos track was great. Gerard Butler, Lena Headey was great in the film, and the story was okay, but it was hard to follow at certain times, so I feel like a high average of 7 is quite a fair score for me. So there it is, guys. There's my review of 300. Stay tuned, as I said, for the sequel, and more movies coming soon. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.